Tell me, what do you think is going on for me right now as you delay? Because what happens is that when we work with people, you know, I'm the holder of the accountability, you're going to do X, and you don't do it. And then you tell me tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. I just say to people, no is a good answer, and tell me you're not going to do it.
Jennifer Elliott.
That's my name.
Have you Googled yourself before?
I have. I don't like it.
Why not?
Well, I look at it and I go, okay.
Okay.
Actually, I haven't Googled myself in years.
And
how's that?
when was the last time you did, and what did you find?
Jeez. When was the last?
The first thing I see is your LinkedIn profile,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't see anything else. I don't see like a nice, like a full website. Jennifer Elliott, everything.
Oh, yeah, right.
Why don't we make one? We should make one.
Oh, no, that's cringeworthy stuff.
So to save people the trouble,
Yes.
Jennifer Elliott, how to become a leader who changes the game. Changes the game. Great leaders have the power to shape the world and leave a legacy for the next generation.
Yeah.
We believe that anything is possible with passionate leaders who take action. We are at a time in history where we are in dire need of courageous leaders who are willing to challenge the status quo. Now, after the last 2 days of hanging out with you, that you absolutely, definitely walk your words, not just talk them. Leadership is a function of character, not an accident of birth or a prerogative of position. Ooh.
Do you like that?
I love that prerogative. Ooh.
Well, it isn't.
No.
Too many people. Remember I asked you how many CEOs are there in Microsoft? One. So people have aspirations for the role. They have no idea whether they're leading a big business or a small one, what it actually takes.
Yeah.
And it's hard work.
Very much hard work, very much. I'll finish this off for the peeps. Character is not about your personality. It is your capacity to act courageously in the act of adversity. That's where we started talking about Rudyard Kipling's poem.
Yes.
You are not born with the internal fortitude to stand up for what you believe in. That fortitude is built out of experience you have and the scars that you carry. All of this makes more sense since yesterday. It is in those scars that you find the strength to forge ahead when others have given up. Your scars build your character from the inside out if you allow them to. Amazing. And then you ask a question. Can you be counted on to consistently live up to a set of values no matter what your circumstances? And that, so everybody that's listening, I did a session with Jennifer 2 days ago. It was a 2-hour roasting of me. And the roast was to be mean, but it was to really just set shit straight. Jennifer's straight up, straightforward, blunt, and everything I need in my life. And I really appreciate your time the other day. So I did a questionnaire, 171 questions. And it was one of those scale things where you do the strongly disagree all the way to strongly agree. Now, you're meant to do that properly and as, what would you call it, as honestly as possible. Yes. And I did it as honestly as I could. And she could tell. She could tell if you don't do it right. And if you don't do it right, you're wasting your time and your money. But when I did it right, in the back of my mind, I knew what I had troubling me. Now, it wasn't a therapy session. Some people would call it a therapy session. It was a just kick up the ass from someone that came from a place where you got kicked up the ass and you got on with it. Now, I did as well, but born in Kyrgyzstan, former Soviet Union. You do or you don't. That's it. There is no try.
Yes. Don't you love that
I love that.
It's
Yoda.
one of my favourites.
Yoda.
Yeah. Are you doing it or you're not?
Yeah, that's it.
What are you doing?
I'm going to give it a try. Well, what happens after you try?
Nothing.
Do you then adjust and then go again? Because you're not trying.
Yeah.
You're just doing.
Yeah.
Right? You were born in South Africa.
Yes.
You migrated to Australia at the age of 16.
Yes.
How was that like, change of culture and adversity for you?
You know, I can still remember the day I arrived in Perth, and it's 50 years ago now. And there's songs that can play on the radio, and I feel like I just arrived.
Can you remember a song?
I was racking my brain. I'm thinking, well, it's one of the Beatles songs that was playing, and I thought, I just got here, right? And, I have this thing that I say to people. I can still remember the moment the aeroplane doors opened, and it was mid-January, and it was blazing hot. And I remember the aeroplane gliding to a stop as it came in, and the heat was shimmering on the tarmac. It was the first time I'd ever been in an aeroplane, and I had come all the way from Johannesburg to Perth. And as that heat rushed in, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm in hell. But I could have kissed that ground. It was freedom. I could smell it.
What, at that age, in that time, what had you escape?
So I'm a product of a mixed race marriage in South Africa, and I was born in 1954 at the height of the apartheid regime. And my parents had done what's called cross the colour bar line. So my mother is part Black African, father white. My mother could pass, right? They used to call it passing. And so she went to Johannesburg, she met my father, and they couldn't get married because South Africa had laws at that point. My mother was pregnant with my sister. They went to Lorenzo Marx, and they still couldn't get married because the Lorenzo Marx government passed an agreement with the South African government that they would no longer marry these mixed-race marriage people. And so my parents came back. My mother was very pregnant by this time. And then my auntie said to my father, let's just go down to the registry office. I'll keep the registrar all busy. They'll do, I do. And they got married. The hardest thing was, like you have funny memories as children. Like one of the memories that I have is that we moved from Johannesburg to Durban because my mother needed a white identity card to register me in school. My sister was already registered. When they went to register me, they couldn't because she couldn't produce that card. So we went to Durban because people said, in Durban it's a little bit easier. So we went to Durban and it still couldn't happen. No. And so my parents fed me castor oil every day to make me vomit and told everyone I was sick. And that's why I couldn't go to school. To this day, I cannot stand the smell of castor oil.
You made it out though.
And it's a wonderful, when I look back and I go, wow, it was hard, and my parents were very protective of us. So I have a younger brother, Paul Llewellyn. He was a member of Parliament here and the founder of the Green Party.
Wow, the founder.
Yeah. So with Joe Valentine.
Right, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So when you moved to Australia, based off your experiences growing up in Johannesburg and Durban, how did that experience shape your views on resilience and adaptability?
It's a good question. My father introduced me to books when I was very young. He took me to the library and he told me that if I educated myself and read extensively, then the world would open up for me. He did say to me, no one's going to give it to you, Jennifer. You're going to earn this. And he was one of my greatest supporters throughout my life. And the moments when I would fall over, so if you can imagine living in South Africa, most people can't. Apartheid seems such a foreign thought, right? But my mother never took me to school, took me anywhere. My father took me everywhere because he was white and no one would argue with him, right? So he took me to my first day at school. And I used to have a stutter as a child, so they put me into elocution, and he was the one who would come and listen to me at my Stedfords and things like that. So he instilled in me a belief structure that if I wanted something, then it was up to me to make it happen, that it wasn't going to be handed to me.
So moving to Australia, you were just equipped already? You were
Yes
sorted.
and no. My auntie came to visit. She told me that I could come and live in Australia. I was all of 12. I can still remember this conversation. And she said, oh, you can come to Australia. And I said, oh, what a good idea. This place is rather shite, right? And so I wrote to the ambassador in Pretoria and asked him if I could go to Australia. And I did this every month for 2 years until he gave me an appointment. And then I filled out the paperwork and he said I could come live with my auntie. That was that. I can still see the day that I sat in his office. And my father took me to see him and he's talked to me. I was 15 at the time and he said, okay, if you pass this year at school, I'll let you go. And he picked up a stamp and went, bang, bang, you can go.
Wow. And you had to carry your own white card as a student?
Yes.
How did carrying a white identity card to go to school, how did that, influence your views on integrity and fairness and leadership?
The truth is when you're a kid, you actually don't realise half this stuff is going on. It's just playing around in the back of your mind. Something's not right here. Yeah? And if you can imagine, I used to have long black hair that sat in ringlets all the way to my waist. And I was much darker than the rest of the kids in the classroom. If you see a picture of me as a kid, you always pick me out. And the teachers were pretty mean, right? But they couldn't argue with the piece of paper my mother finally got. And to this day, I still have my mother's white identity card. It was like she would not let that thing go. She had a friend who had a member of parliament, someone who knows somebody, and got my mother a white identity card.
And all of this, and you were in the same-sex school?
Yes. Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah. Tell me about that experience, especially in South Africa.
Well, girls, they're mean, man. I can still remember this one girl, really. I got this lovely doll from a friend of the family or something for Christmas, and I took it to school to show her, and then I said something, and this girl, Fiona, blackmailed me. I had to give her the doll, otherwise she was going to tell the teacher what I said. I can't remember what I said, but it was the first time I ever stood up for myself, and I shouted at her. I said, go on, go and tell her. Off you go.
You were assertive.
Well, was it hard? Yeah, kids are cruel.
They are.
Kids are cruel. I don't think they mean to be, just like adults don't mean to be.
No.
They just don't think before they open their mouths.
Does that ever leave the mindset as you grow older? Really? Truly?
What, being mean?
Yeah.
I think if you get a wake-up call.
Wake up call.
You need a wake-up call as an adult about what's okay and what's not okay.
The bad and the ugly always exist.
Yes.
It's
really
either
clear
active
about
or
that.
dormant.
Yes. So it's a little bit like I often say to people, the bad and ugly about me and you is sitting in the corner over there. When we give it airtime, so I talk about airtime, then it raises its ugly head and it's dominating the situation. And are you aware? So self-awareness is one of the biggest things that people don't have. They actually don't get what they're doing. And then when you point it out, they go into denial about that.
So two things from that. Self-awareness is one of my biggest, most interesting topics I love talking about. It's one of my 3 key topics.
Yeah, well, we measure it, as you know.
Yeah.
So
self-awareness, when someone doesn't have it as a kid, fair enough, they're growing.
Well, also, it's instilled in you by your parents. So my parents were well read, especially my father.
And that assists.
And that made a difference.
Yeah.
It made a difference. It allowed me to see the world through someone else's eyes and to see myself through their eyes.
Yeah.
And when we can do that, life changes. I'm really clear about that. It's like most people are resistant to taking a look at what works and doesn't work for them. I'm just stunned sometimes when people open their mouths.
What do you think that is?
No one checked in with them. No one interrupted them. So remember, the bad and the ugly is always sitting there. It's in that bin over there, right? You can pick it up anytime you like. The problem is the people are completely irresponsible.
And distracted.
Yeah. And then they allow it to dominate the conversation. Now, the best gift we give anyone is the gift to interrupt when they do things like that.
Some people would call that escaping the matrix, giving him the red pill.
I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favourites.
Yeah.
I love it. You want the red pill? Take the red pill, mate.
Take the red pill.
Take the red pill.
But people offer the red pill in what seems in today's world as aggressive, mean, bullying, ugly.
Yeah.
But it's perceived like that, but it's not. It's like when we had talked about the other day with if you have a fat friend,
yes,
you give them the red pill by saying, you're fat,
yes,
and I want you to stay around longer,
yes,
into our older years,
yes,
but I don't think you will because you're fat.
Yeah.
But then people go, oh, that's fat shaming.
Really? Is it? Well, I have a thing where I go, if you really cared about someone, you'd tell them the truth. You'd love them to the place where they'd like to be. So you tell me what you want and I'll hold you up against it. Now, to do that, you've got to let go of all, like I can't make someone stop eating. Let's talk about fat, right? I can go, are you willing to continue to have the outcome that's giving you?
Spot on.
That's it. I remember, I don't know if you want any stories here. But
absolutely.
So I was coaching the most amazing, wonderful man who's a CEO, right? And I kid you not, he was 3 times my size, and I'm not a small woman, right? He weighed over 180 kilos. And he came into his first session with me and I said, so you had these coaching outcomes and we're doing a whole program, and he gives it to me and I go, okay. I said, you see this here? Losing weight? I said, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a get skinny coach. I said, I don't know anything about that. All I know is you're fat.
And how did he take that?
I don't need to know anything other than I look at you, you're fat.
How did he take that?
Well, he said, I know. And I said, no, you don't know you're fat. I said, because if you knew and you were really committed, you'd actually do something about it. I said, you don't know how this is affecting you. So knowing makes no difference. So you've done PT and PE, right? So it's like knowing something doesn't make any difference. It's like the smoker who says they want to stop smoking. They know it's no good for them. And knowing makes no difference. The only difference is the action that you want to take. So this particular guy, I actually said to him, I said, so he has 2 gorgeous kids, right? I said, do you love them? He said, yes. And I said, oh, no, not enough. I said, I want you to go home put them both on your knee if you can possibly have them sit there, because I don't think anyone can fit on your lap. But anyway, put them on your knee. And I said, and say to them, Daddy loves food more than he loves you. So I'm going to die in about 15 years because my heart can't take this weight. But you want to know that. And he looked at me and he said, he cried. And I said, I love you and I want you to be here in 30, 40 years' time. But what you're doing is you're slowly killing yourself. And I don't know how to fix it. That's not the job that I do. But you need to find someone who can. 2 years later, he weighed 92 kilos.
That's awesome.
And you know, he's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
A really good man. And I go, yeah. Like, I didn't do it. He did it. I didn't do anything. But it took him 2 years to take that weight off.
Let's go back to self-awareness, reading books, knowing what you've read.
Yes.
You can apply.
Absolutely.
But without doing it, you don't know.
Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it?
So how do we bridge the gap between knowing and doing?
So it's small, incremental steps. It's not... I think that when you know something and you make a call, I'm going to do this, yeah, then you make a plan. Now, and you celebrate your little wins along the way, because that keeps you motivated. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's like people who have some kind of wacky idea that they're going to be millionaires next year and, you know, they haven't even held down a job yet. They don't know what it takes to get up every morning and do it no matter what. I like if you set a goal and you go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to create that, then you're going to do it because you said so. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but
I said so.
But that's also not true for everybody.
No.
Because that's talk the talk. You got to walk the walk.
Well,
and
it's self-discipline.
Yeah, self-discipline. But when someone tells me because they said so,
yeah,
I judge them on their past actions of their last.
I love that. So if they didn't take, you know how people do, you've seen it. I do this, and I go, bully for you. Good on you. Who cares?
Yeah.
What action have you taken to make that happen?
Yeah, so far apart from, I've thought about it. That's not an action.
No. So we have a thing where I talk to people and leaders about we're thinking, feeling, acting human beings, right? So we have a thought, I think I'll do this. And then our feelings hijack our thinking and then we do nothing, right? Or we either take control of our feelings and then take an action, small, every day, every week, every month, every year, until we accomplish what we said we were going to do.
Without losing yourself.
Without losing. And that's the hardest part.
That is the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. Can you remember who you are, what you stand for, what you value, all at the same time? And notice when someone's expecting you to compromise your values in any way.
And there's a sacrifice. And that's true self-awareness, that balance of going for it, but understanding who you are and if you are happy to stay or happy or on the person you will become. You mentioned when we had a chat about this, who did you become over the last 35 years of your business?
Who did I become? This is who I believe I am. I am a believer in humanity's capacity to solve its problems, and it is done through the people who have the courage to lead. And that's the hardest thing that you'll ever take on. And I've become a stalwart advocate and a supporter of people who'll go out there and be courageous and take it on. I think integrity and values is the toughest thing I ever did. I've been doing it for 30 odd years. It's hard and it's only hard when I lose sight of what we're about. You know that moment when I'll indulge myself? I don't know about you, but I do, right? I'll do moments of self-indulgence. I'll do my complaining and whatever else. And then I'm reminded, hey, this isn't what you said. This isn't who you said you'd be or where you'd go. And I love my clients. They even will remind me. I was complaining to a client in December about something, and he just ripped into me. And I went, what? And he said, yeah, take your own coaching.
Yeah.
Right? So I love these people. They hold me to account too. It's not like I walk on water and I've got it all handled.
No. And those are the people you want to surround yourself with, the ones that can give it back to you, not be intimidated by your leadership, but call you out if, you know, your leadership kind of seems to go astray, because sometimes we don't notice.
Well, I believe that we do go astray. We do lose sight, and especially when it's hard.
We're human beings.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, see, when I hear that, I go, we're human beings. Well, hello, are you going to be anything else?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a nonsense thing, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just a get out of jail free card, right? No.
What about ADHD? I have ADHD.
Oh, go away. I believe it's a real thing. I have a grandson who's got real ADHD, and I can see that when he's not medicated, this child is impossible. And my daughter said to me, Mum, if he doesn't take that medication, he cannot have his executive functioning going on, and he cannot learn. And I went, great, give it to him then. But just be very clear about what you are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah? Monitor it.
I'd love to see a world where we can cure ADHD by the willingness to talk to someone with it and channel that focus, right? Oh, you can't focus without the meds. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Well, I am and I'm not.
Yes.
I think
there's realism in that too. I agree.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I believe. So this is like, what do I know about ADHD is dangerous, other than I have a grandson with it.
Yeah.
And he's the most beautiful, delightful boy you ever want to meet. And I can see it.
Yeah.
It's exhausting for my daughter. So what's the conversation? Like, have you ever read Stephen Biddulph's book, Manhood?
No.
Okay. Stephen Biddulph has this guy who's a truck driver, and he's told that his son has got ADHD, and he thought it was dad deficiency disorder.
Dad deficiency.
DDD. DDD, right? So he decided that what he'd do is he's going to take his son out and in the truck with him and take him places and get him all interested in all of this. Guess what happened? Kid improves.
Okay.
Right? So, I don't know. I do see this kid lose focus.
Yeah.
And it's hard for him to stay attentive. And then when you engage with him, I was sitting yesterday afternoon playing with him. We were playing a game, and he got it. But when he was in there, he was fantastic, and he loved it.
With the meds.
Yeah. He's on meds, right?
Yeah, the meds.
Who knows?
That's all right.
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to go down your track.
But that's the self-awareness part. You don't know.
Yes.
And that's a courageous thing to say, because everybody wants to put in their opinion on any topic these days. Saying I don't know is a sensible response.
Well, I don't know.
No, exactly.
You know, all I know is the little bit that I know about a grandchild. And my daughter has spent, she's an incredible researcher, so she spent a lot of time researching the subject. And she said, Mum, I'd like him not to be on meds in time, but right now, for him to learn to read, write and function in the world, he needs it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard.
Lesser of two evils.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do I know that will work? I have a couple of clients that have got sons that have got ADHD, and both of them said to me, because I asked them, they said, Jennifer, give him the meds. You know, and he said, and one guy said, my son is no longer on meds, he's 25. Another one says he's weaning himself off them now. So I go, okay, is that something?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that we've got a massive phenomenon going on in the world. Has it always been there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You have 5 children yourself.
Well, I have 3 of my own and 2 stepchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
And totaling 11 grandchildren and 2 on the way.
2 more.
2 more.
2 more coming.
Twins.
Twin
Hot
little
damn.
boys. Let's just get it over and done with.
I'm about to have my first child in June.
Oh, that's so cool.
5 kids, 11 grandkids, 2 on the way. 11. What's that like?
I love it. Like, if there's anything that I like to believe I've done well, is I've been a great parent. And I was a tough parent. I didn't put up with nonsense.
Yeah, what's your definition of a great parent?
A parent who teaches their child, loves them no matter what, and then demands that they are responsible. So I was a demand that they were responsible. So there were consequences if you didn't do what was required.
What was required is a responsibility.
Yeah.
There's a difference between responsibility and accountability.
An ocean.
An ocean. Let's define responsibility for the parents.
So the word comes from 2 words, the ability to respond. And it is about my ability to respond. So it's about me, my, I is responsibility. And you can't push that over there. So when people are not responsible, they will look outside of themselves for an answer to a problem. They'll blame other people. They'll shame other people. They'll deny that something's actually even happening. They'll justify why they do things the way that they do it. And then they'll get defensive when they don't like it.
I think you've just explained the woke culture in one sentence.
Yeah, don't talk to me about that.
I think that's a rabbit hole right there.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I just...
Let's go back to the responsibility word.
Let's stick with responsibility. Responsibility is the key, the absolute key to having a life that works.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I can tell you now that when my life isn't working or things aren't going the way I'd like, I know there's somewhere that I have opted out of being responsible. Not that I need to take on, you know, the global status of every war and blah, blah, blah. No. It's like in my sphere of influence, like I have a saying where I say, if I am willing to be responsible for the smallest atom in the farthest reaches of our galaxy, then what I do here and now would be different. And the word is willing. I never said you have to be.
No.
Like, are you willing? Because if you're willing, then every moment of now, who you are, how you act, how you respond would be different.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
If you're responsible for something across the world, like a global conflict, and that's something that I've always wanted to kind of go down a little bit further.
Yeah.
Not the actual literal conflict itself, but the human ability to care for it and talk about it non-stop when it's on the other side of the world. I look at that and go, okay, right, you're right, there is a conflict. What are you doing about it?
Well, what we do and say in our life today has a rippling effect on what happens over there. And like I have a friend who said something to me and I was shocked and I thought, do I say something? Do I not? And their only response was, well, me and mine, I'm okay. And I said, shall I tell you something what happened throughout world history when me and mine didn't care about what was happening over there? Take note. Take note. I just travelled through Europe and I saw things that I did not like. And I went, there's something very, very not working around here. So it's like, and am I responsible for what's happening on a global scale, let's say in Germany or wherever? Yeah? No. And I am by what I accept here. What I say nothing to here has a rippling effect. Have you ever read Man's Search for Meaning? You know that quote by Martin Niemöller? When they came for the gypsies, I said nothing. When they came for the gays, I said nothing. When they came for the socialists, I said nothing. When they came for the Jews, I said nothing. And when they came for me, there was no one to speak for me. It takes something to say no in the face of that kind of stuff.
What about the left, the right, the red and the blue? The Israel, the Palestine, the Ukraine, the Russia.
Oh my God, that's another.
And I'm not asking you to tell me which side you're on, but that's what I'm seeing.
Messy.
The world is divided.
Yeah.
There's one side and there's another side across the world. Does speaking up mean choosing a side?
Speaking up isn't about choosing a side. It's about having a position that says what's okay and not okay around here. You know, whether it's the Israeli-Palestinian issue, whether it's the Ukraine, it really doesn't matter. It's like, is that okay?
No.
And if it's not, then what are you going to do about it?
Right.
What are you willing to stand by and go, I'm absolutely not supporting this? So, you know, in the moment when we stand up, in this moment, for someone who says something to someone else in our company, in our sphere, in that moment, we made a statement about that's not okay here and don't go there. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. We are unwilling. Like in the working world, you've seen it. You know, people do things at work and no one says anything.
Yeah. What if the same ideology is on both sides, but because you pick a side, the opposite think that you're a monster?
Yeah. I'm sure people think I'm a monster because I'll rather think like this. Like if I challenge someone's behaviour, let's talk about that bad and ugly again, right? If I challenge the bad and ugly in anybody, think about it like this. Most people have allowed their bad and ugly to run the show for a long time. So someone like you or I come along and we challenge it and we go, what's that? The bad and ugly throws a tantrum.
Yeah, because it disrupts their momentum.
Yeah. They go, well, I've been in charge here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah? And you can't tell me that. And I went, no, hang on a second. What part of you is not that bad and ugly and looks at it and is abhorred by it?
Yeah.
Now let's have a conversation with this part of you, with that part of you.
Yeah. Are you happy that you're just going along? Are you happy that you're plateauing? You don't want to get better. Why not? Is it not comfortable to work harder? Why don't you want to work harder? What if your plateau was one day not good enough and you were replaced? How would you make?
Well, by a machine.
Yeah. How would that make you feel? That's a legit concern for me. Like
people aren't aware and aren't willing to look at what is actually going on.
What about the quietly quitting folk? The ones that just, I'll just do the bare minimum. And I'm looking at them going, your bare minimum is about to be 1/10 of the effort by a machine. And you're going to be replaced soon.
Yeah.
But then telling them that is like, it feels to most of the society like telling them that they're fat.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Am I willing to look? That's the question. The question isn't, am I going to be replaced by a machine? Well, tell the horse buggy, the people who made whips, that these, horseless carriages weren't going to make a deal, right? It's like people who make petrol cars today. Hello, you better figure this one out and get ahead of the curve. So, like at my age, there's times when I can give you the tip. There are times when I go, oh no, this is all too hard. What am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Like, most of my friends are retired. I don't know. No, my friends that are retired aren't friends anymore. Because they're boring.
Go play your bingo.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love what I do. I love the fact that I have a brain that's still really functioning.
Are you a failure if you retire though?
No, you're just bored. I'm not a failure if I retire. I'm just bored. I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
Like, I really can't figure out how you'd fill your day. Now, maybe I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
Good.
Do you love it?
I love it.
That's it.
I love it. My daughter said to me, my youngest daughter, she's a dentist, and she said, Mum, we're built to work. Human beings are built to work. And when they stop doing that, they stop living.
That's it. That's it.
And I go, I'm with her.
You can define work
As whatever.
As whatever. You could be a servant or you can be a prostitute. Just for context, guys, Jennifer called me a prostitute the other day.
That's a terrible thing to say.
You said it, not me.
But you accepted it.
I can't wait. I can't wait till someone edits that out of context. This lady called me a prostitute, everyone. But yes, I did accept it, but I already knew. My biggest setting that you saw was that
You're too nice.
I was too nice, but the score was -4 on that satisfaction metric. Are you happy with your job?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Because I got out of a 9 to 5 as a school teacher, a job that I liked for the most part because of the kids. But I knew that very soon that most part was going to be the minority part because the education system's fucked. And
that's a technical term.
Yeah, that's a technical term, just like prostitution. So when I left school teaching, I thought, great, I can work for myself.
Yes.
But I've got clients, I work for them. Prostitute works for herself or himself. They've got clients they need to serve.
Yeah.
I have clients I need to serve too. Different industries, thankfully. And the dissatisfaction was the spark that I discovered in my creativeness.
Yeah.
I never started because I wanted to serve other people. And then I moved along and now I'm getting paid to use that spark for someone else.
Well, you're doing what you love.
I'm doing what I love when I'm not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm out there taking photos of whatever I want. A bird in a tree is not going to pay me money to take a photo of it.
Yep.
But that's not why I take the photo. I take the photo because I want to see the image. I want to look at it. I want to enjoy it. I want to use it as a ticket to a memory otherwise forgotten.
Yeah.
So do
I
other
like
people.
That.
Yeah. A photo is a memory, is a ticket back to a memory otherwise forgotten. That's what it is. That's why I like taking photos. It's one of my favorite photography quotes. But I then loved it some more. People appreciated it. They bought my photos. They hired me to take their photos, weddings. I got really good at it. I loved it in the moment.
Yeah.
But the self-awareness came and said, you're not going to do this forever. You're going to have kids soon. You're going to hate the fact that you sold your time 12 months from now on a Saturday when your little girl or boy is starting to walk. No. I was like, as soon as I realized that, I was like, I need to get out of weddings. What else can I do? Other people wanted to hire me to teach them about the business side of things. And I love that too.
Yes.
But then they were not good enough to do it themselves. So they asked me to do it. More money. Brilliant. Premium prostitute. Now I'm doing that. But I want to go back to teaching. I want to teach the people that want to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And you taught me that I need to be more assertive to the right people, that they can learn how to do it because it's in their best interest to learn how to do it themselves, or learn how to hire someone that isn't me to do it for them.
Yeah.
And then I can go, great, go for it, have fun, call me when you need me. It'll cost you a lot though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, you know that whole thing, like understanding that when we let go of something that's important to us that we want to do, and we sell our souls, or we let people get away with things because we're too nice, or we take on something that's not ours to take on, and we don't hold other people to account for it. All of those actions have us be completely unaware of the impact that that has. Plus, that's where I said to you, as long as you keep doing that, you're prostituting yourself for something that doesn't float your boat. And, so it's a little bit hard, people could take that out of context. I go, okay, listen to the rest and go, I'm really clear that if you're willing to take action, then the thing that holds us where we are moves away.
Yeah. And that's been a great first.
So you do something.
Yeah. It's a great time of the year to have heard that.
Yeah.
But that's also could be an excuse for people. It's November. I'll do it in January. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 2 months of your time wasted.
Yeah. It's also like when we're open and we're willing, then the teacher appears. The teacher only appears, or the opportunity to think differently appears when we're open and willing. Jay and I are pretty excited about our conversations with you.
Yeah.
Why? We're ready.
Yeah. And that's where that philosophy that I told you yesterday about the answering consumers question, it came back to what you told me the previous day, very serendipitous, that I need to be assertive, plant the seeds, expect nothing, and just keep going because I love educating for nothing.
Yeah.
The education goes out, and when the right person's ready, they'll come back going, bingo.
Yeah.
Let's party.
Yeah, let's partner, let's work together.
Yes.
So it's like, that piece of advice was given to me at your age, a little bit younger than you. Do what you love and someone will pay you to do it.
Yeah.
And, it's like, because when you love it and you keep doing it, you become really, really good at it.
Yeah.
And you listen with different ears. So, you know, if you think about the work that you do, it's like you're listening to business owners about solving a particular issue. And because you've done it for hours and hours and hundreds of hours now, you can hear it in everything they say.
Oh, it's
like
getting better.
music.
And I love helping people, my close friends, because they're all coming to me now.
Yeah.
They're all saying, Sev, I need your help.
Yeah.
Or what should I do? And I say, come in for a visit. I've already applied what you taught me the other day as well. It's so good. I actually did it today. The first one actually today.
Yeah.
I did a session this morning with a lady named Sharon. She's actually neighbour across the hall here. And I gave her all the things that she needed to know or to do. And I always look back and I want reflection. Did it make sense?
Yes.
Is this not helpful? I'm not helping people.
You're not helping people
I'm not
anymore.
helping people. I'm guiding them.
You're guiding them, supporting them.
Does this guide make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Here are the next 5 steps. Will you do it? Yes. Great.
When?
Next week, if I don't see these 5 in an email as evidence that you've done it, I'm going to invoice you.
Did you like that?
I love that. I love that. You know, like
Yeah.
an hour of time to the right person is either helpful for them. Sorry, not
Supportive?
supportive. I'm going to use the terminology better. Or if it's not, because they're arsholes. Have I told you about the word arsehole?
No.
Maybe this is what you'll take from me. Shout out to Chris, who taught me this. He said, you're an asshole with a K if you ask for advice or guidance, mentorship, coaching, and then the next time you come back to that person, ask them again. If you had done no single action from the first time to the second time, you're an asshole. But
Ask hole.
an asshole, right?
An ask hole.
Yeah. You just ask a lot and you're just a hole.
You're just a hole that disappears into nothing.
Because you don't do anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, I'm not into doing nothing.
No. But then now with the accountability, because that's the next word I want to define with you.
Yeah.
The accountability is my obsession. I love accountability. I need to be better accountable for myself.
No, you don't. You need to be responsible for yourself.
Responsible for yourself. That's the difference.
You need to be the holder of the accountability for whoever is in your circle who makes a promise or says that they will do something.
Yeah.
So we do get confused. Like in the world, those 2 words have become synonymous. They are not.
No.
Right? Remember, so responsibility, I, me. Accountability, they, them.
So you can't actually hold yourself accountable.
Well, no, you can hold yourself responsible.
Right.
Well, how do you hold who are you having a conversation with?
Yeah.
Yourself?
No.
Yeah.
So there's no self-accountability. It is
It's a nonsense.
self-responsibility.
It's self-responsibility.
But it's good to have someone else keep you accountable.
Absolutely. Like, when we make a promise to anybody, we just became the holder. We allowed that person to be the holder of an accountability with us. So you said to us, read the book. What did I do? I read the book. I gave it to Jay. Read the book.
They Ask
read
You
the book.
Answer by Marcus Sheridan for the context.
Yeah. Read the book. I'm on its 3rd. I'm running it through 3 times now.
In the 1 week.
In 1 week.
The physical book.
No, I'm listening to it.
Oh, you're listening to it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
So, and then I downloaded the PDFs and everything. So I go, there's no way. So I like to believe that I'm really very responsible. I take responsibility. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah? So in the moment that I said to you, yes, I'll read it, I gave you the authority to hold me to it.
And that's what I really love.
Yeah.
When I say to someone, this is what I reckon you should do. No, this is what I know you should do.
Yeah.
Will you do it? And they're like, yes. And my favorite thing is prove it. Prove it. It's almost like a meme.
Yeah.
Now, with this accountability, the invoice thing after, brilliant. I have been naturally, organically doing it without even realizing it. There's just no price tag at the end of it. But I'm going to do that from now on. Money is a great accountability tool. This is another book that I read, Getting Things Done by Dave Allen.
Yes.
And Buying Back Your Time as well. And Buying Back Your Time, they talk about different accountability strategies, like a buddy with a motivational way of, not a motivational factor, but like the money factor. Like a friend of mine.
Consider that a buddy, like we set up buddy structures for senior executives on the team, right? And they do a buddy call every day with a particular structure.
Is there any consequences to not doing the action? What's the okay, let's go that.
Yeah.
They do the action, great.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
They don't do the action, what's the next step?
So it's like I make a promise to you. I go, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Right? And then I don't do it. Right? And so the holder of the accountability now says, so I have you any intention of doing this? And I go, yep. And you go, okay, when? And how will I know it's been done? So what you want to be able to teach people on your team, if you're a leader, is like you hold someone to account. Okay, when will this happen? The next thing is you say, I want it by 2 o'clock on Wednesday next week. Okay, 2 o'clock Wednesday. Now, 2 o'clock Wednesday comes and it's not done. So you ring them. When is it late? At 2 o'clock on Wednesday. So you ring them at 2 o'clock, it's late. Right, okay. I'm nearly there. When? And then you go, how will I know it's done? So a lot of times, like you work with people all the time, it's like you give them things that they need to do. You want to say, how will I know it's done?
Yeah.
Right? And then you work out a structure. So accountability requires structures. You work out a structure that says they will do it here and they'll send you an SMS and say it's done. Like I was being coached by my coach and she used to work for us, right? She retired and now pretends she's retired, but actually works for us. And she's my coach, right? And I said I'd do something. And she knows when. And I said, I'll do oh, good God. Okay, Tuesday. She said, what time Tuesday?
I do the same thing.
Yes.
I ask the same questions. When and what time?
Yeah, and then you want to go, how will I know it's done?
Yeah. I have an evolution to that.
Yeah. They send you an SMS. They give you
What happens when you get someone who keeps delaying? So before the deadline, they go, new date, 2 days before that. A week from now, bang. How do I know it's done? I'll email you. And then they get to that week, 2 days before, I need a delay.
So now a serious conversation, accountability conversation is going to be had. Because you know how people will say, I'll get this done by 2 o'clock on Thursday.
Yes.
You go, oh, great. So now you're expecting it 2 o'clock on Thursday, right? And then they ring you on Wednesday, right? And they go, oh, no, I'm not going to get it done. I'll get it to you at 4 o'clock on Friday. You go, okay, I can do 4 o'clock on Friday. And then 4 o'clock on Friday comes, oh, no, I'll give it to you on Monday. What are you going to say at that point in time? So that's that whole piece about being too nice.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, all right, how are you going to respond if you're assertive? How are you going to respond? The thing is, You simply say, tell me you're not going to do it. Don't mess me around.
That's the assertive part.
Don't tell me you'll do it and it's not done, right? The other thing is put it back on them.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you think is going on for me right now as you delay? Because what happens is that when we work with people, you know, I'm the holder of the accountability, you're going to do X, and you don't do it. And then you tell me tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. I just say to people, no is a good answer, and tell me you're not going to do it, and I'll find someone else to do it.
Brilliant. That's a masterclass right there.
You know, it's like, because so many times we let people get away with that stuff, and then we're delayed. We're struggling. So the biggest single issue with leaders is a lack of the ability to hold people to account. And you need tools and structures to make that happen. So, you know, if I say to a lot of leaders, I say to them, okay, so he said Tuesday. I said, okay, very good. What time Tuesday? 3 o'clock Tuesday. I said, did you put it in your calendar?
Yeah.
And are you going to be alarmed?
I say that to people too. Did you accept the invite? Yes or no? No, you need to. Why? Because it will be updated in your calendar. Why? So you can get alarmed.
Yes.
Why? So I don't have to follow up a day before.
Yes.
If it's not on a calendar, how do you know it exists?
Yes.
Are you going to magically remember the day of? I 100%.
I cannot.
No.
My husband used to say, the bluntest pencil is better than the sharpest memory.
Your psychometric tool profiles over 25,000 leaders.
Yes.
We've spoken about one of the great qualities of a truly great leader, holding people accountable.
Yeah.
Can you give me some others?
Telling the truth.
Let's talk about it.
So you know what people say to me? They go, well, you know, there's confidential information. I said, I wasn't talking about confidential information. I'm talking about the truths we don't give people. So the more transparent, honest, open you are with your people, the more powerful you become as a leader. They will follow you and walk across broken glass if you don't lie to them. Tell them the truth, even when it's ugly. And I can tell you now, you know, I remember when COVID came, it was so tough. I was very transparent with our team. I just told them the truth. There is nothing I can do about this, and I'm not going to lie to you about it. Guess what? They're all still with me.
What did you say?
I just simply said, so within 48 hours of them announcing the first shutdown, we lost 85% of our revenue. And I have 12 people on my team. And I can remember on the Thursday morning, as I got the final call, no one cancelled on us. They just all put it off. Anyway, what happened was I said to, I held an extraordinary meeting on Friday morning at 9 a.m. and I stood everyone down. I just said, we're a small business. I cannot carry this. There is no cash coming in. I'll pay you whatever I owe you. And then JobKeeper came. My hair fell out. I can still remember it. After I'd told everyone, I went into the bathroom and I vomited.
Wow.
I felt so sick. These are the most beautiful, wonderful, committed people to transforming leaders, and I just stood them all down. And they were beautiful people. They still are beautiful people. JobKeeper came. I said, everybody come back. And then we gave them options. But, you know, it was tougher when we all went back to work because we had to reignite the entire business. And we were only just having that come to fruition. We had to pivot so many times to figure out what to do. And I never, I told them constantly what we were up against. Guess what happened? They all work their little asses off. They're amazing. They're amazing people, and they work hard.
Because you told the truth.
Because I told the truth. I have seen leaders lie to their people. I've been there.
It's not helpful
Well,
at all.
I actually I was sitting in a meeting, running a program, and one of the leaders said something. And I said, we're going to take a break now for 10 minutes. And I said, you, come here. I said, you've got exactly 3 minutes to tell them the truth. Or I will tell them you've got something very exciting to change your mind about.
Damn. How did he take that?
You can't tell me. I said, no, you're lying. Tell them the truth. Because, you know, if you want to kill your business off, allow lies and gossip, because gossip is lies, right? You want to kill gossip off? You want the best way to kill gossip off in any business?
Yeah.
This is how it's done. Someone goes to you, you know, they've got some character assassination they're doing on someone. And I say to them, oh, that's really interesting. I said, you've got 24 hours to sever what you thought, your real thoughts about this. And then I go, you've got 24 hours, 4 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to ring Sever and go, hey, did Susie talk to you?
And I would be who in that context?
Yeah, you'd be the person that they were gossiping about.
Ah.
Right? So Susie's over here, there's you, there's me. And I go, that's really interesting. You need to go and tell him, Susie. And you've got 24 hours to do it.
Can you give me keep the names separate? Can you give me a story of what happened next?
Sure. So let's just, I had someone on my team to me, and I went, you've got 24 hours to tell them.
Yeah.
And I said, be very clear. I'm going to call them and ask them what you said. And I had this with a CEO and his direct report recently. So I rang the CEO. I said, did so-and-so talk to you? And he said, yep. I said, what did he say to you exactly? He said this. I said, he's lying. Go back to him. And he said, can you tell me what he said? I said, no. I cannot break that confidence. But he's lying. You need to go back to him.
And then what happened?
And then I rang the guy and I said, I've spoken to your CEO. And I said, no. You lied. You told me one thing. You told your coach another thing. And then you told your CEO another thing. So I said, go clean that up. So we have a thing called the integrity clean-up conversation.
I love this.
So how do you have an integrity clean-up conversation? First, you own what you did.
Avoid the integrity conversation by having integrity.
Yeah. Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right? So own up. Then you clean up. And this is not, I'm sorry and I apologise. Clean up is to tell people what was the impact on them and you because of what you did. And then you can move on. And the move on is the re-promise that you make to keep the integrity of this relationship alive. It's an exercise we give them.
Love that.
They have to have one integrity clean-up conversation every day for 90 days until they work out what it means to live with integrity. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Everyone tells lies. Have you read Sam Harris's little book, Lying?
No, I'll add that to the list.
I love Sam Harris, right?
Sam Harris.
And he wrote a little book called Lying. A brilliant guy.
Just lying?
Lying. It's called Lying.
Sam Harris.
And I give it to all the CEOs to read, right?
Lying.
And he says people lie all the time. It's not about the lies that we tell. It's how long we keep them alive and pretend that we didn't say that. also, like this is my interpretation of what he said, right? That, there's a difference between someone coming to your front door and saying, are you hiding that little boy because he's got a gun, he wants to kill him? Well, no, yeah, I lie. He's not here. He's over there somewhere, right? That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, it's the little white lies we tell.
White lies, great
White
topic.
lies.
White lies, good or bad? Is there a between?
No. So, for men, their wife comes out and says, "Do I look good in this dress?" And she doesn't. And you go, "Oh yeah, doll, you always look great and everything." Well, that's so mean to lie to her. So could you say something instead like, hun, I've seen you in so much better things. I don't think that really picks up on your true beauty. Like if you did that, imagine couples that didn't tell little white lies. It's like one guy said to me, he always tells his wife he's on his way home, but he actually hasn't left the office yet. Right?
Yeah.
Or the girl who's whatever, doesn't matter, either sex, doesn't care, right? And I said, okay, you're going to go home and tell her that's what you do. Because she knows.
Yeah.
So now you have a double lie going on.
Yeah.
You've got a double entendre going on here, right? So I go, tell her what you do, and then work out between you, right, how you're going to tell the truth.
That's one of Jordan Peterson's 24 rules.
Yeah.
Because he did 2 books.
Yeah.
Tell the truth, or at least don't lie.
Yes.
Now, going back to the conflict thing for a second, when you don't say anything, do I look good in this dress? And you just hold and just don't say anything.
Do you know,
Is silence...
did I give you that lesson of mine, the too nice lesson? Because that's when you're too nice, right? You don't want to hurt their feelings.
I probably need that one.
I think I gave it to you, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to hurt their feelings,
Yes.
right? So we say nothing, right? And we think we're really noble because we did that. So many, many years ago, I had this gorgeous woman that I met who married a real big a-hole, right? A guy, and I knew he was an a-hole. The very first time I saw this girl, we were in our mid-20s, right? I thought there was a little angel on earth. She had long strawberry blonde hair shimmering down her back to her knees. And when she turned around, she had that peaches and cream. I thought, oh my goodness, the angels are here. She was gorgeous. Anyway, many years later, he leaves, he does terrible things. And one day, and I'll never forget this as long as I live, I can still see her. She said, "Jennifer, do you love me?" And I went, "Absolutely." And you know what she said to me? "Not enough. You never told me what he was like and you let me marry him." That hit me. And she said, "I know you're not responsible for the decision that I made." I said, "You wouldn't have believed me." She said, "You never gave me a chance to." That's what lying does. That's what not saying anything does. We don't give people the opportunity to learn and grow themselves.
Tell the truth, or at least don't lie.
Yeah.
If only JP was here, he'd add some stuff.
I think so, a whole bunch. It's like, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
And, I can still see this woman's face. And she was beautiful, right? And I know what she went through in that relationship. And could I have saved her? I don't know. I never gave her the chance to make the call on herself Like I was better, I knew better? No, I don't. Is that?
No, that's not good.
So it's not even that it's not good, it just doesn't work.
No.
We don't grow people that way.
Yeah, we need to be clear.
Can we love them enough to tell the truth?
No. We can. We definitely can.
And we can soften it. Remember the inoculation?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to tell you what I really think here, and I'm concerned that I'm going to upset you. And I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm apologising in advance.
Take the edge off.
Take the edge off. Show them that you care.
So you have accountability as a leader.
Yeah.
Truth as a leader.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Loyalty.
Loyalty. Had to be in that trio.
Yeah. Well, there's 5 things, right?
Okay, we'll stay. We'll keep the people watching.
Yes.
Let's stay with loyalty, and we'll do the other 2 in a second.
So it's like loyalty isn't about it's a higher loyalty. So there's that fabulous book written by the guy who is the head of the FBI. It's called A Higher Loyalty. And he talks about what is he loyal to. He's the guy that Trump fired on TV. He was the head of the FBI. And anyway, he talks about it. So loyalty is, are you loyal to your personal vision, values, mission, purpose, and that of the organisation? He talks about he is loyal to the Constitution of the United States. As politicians in our own country, they're loyal to the Constitution of Australia, not to some godforsaken bloody thing that they're fighting about today.
James Comey, by the way.
Yeah. Fabulous read.
James Comey, A Higher Loyalty.
A Higher Loyalty. I love that book. I give it to all of our leaders to read. So loyalty is our capacity to rise above our own petty needs and wants and stay true to what we hear about. Can I let go of my personal needs, rise above that, and give what's required here? And stay committed to, that's what it's about. So there's this whole thing in the world right now, you need work-life balance. One of our clients, fabulous guy, is the CEO of Adventure Operations, and he says, there's no such thing as work-life balance, Jennifer. There's life. So how about this? When we're loyal and you said yes, I run this business, you've got 6, 8 people there, you're now responsible, mate. Yeah? And it's a heavy-duty gig.
It is.
It's a heavy-duty gig.
You've got mouths to feed.
Yes. Not only yours.
Or
and
your
kids,
children's.
or your children's.
Yeah.
There's other mouths.
That's life.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And so he talks about loyalty and work-life balance. He said no. He said the biggest thing that he ever learned was when you're there, you're there. And when you're not, you're not. Yeah? So, and if otherwise you start arguing about your work-life balance. And I said, it's a bunch of nonsense. And it's the psychobabble of my industry. Oh, you need work-life balance. What is that? I don't know what it is. Right? It's like, do I have fun? Yeah. Do I love my job? Yes. Do I have things that I do that are outside my workday? Yes.
Before you continue to the next...
don't get me started on that.
Are you sure? I was about to.
Okay, go. Ask me the question.
So this is what I wish we recorded the other day.
Yes?
Your quote-unquote work-life balance over the last 35 years has yielded in what? Let's talk about the good and the bad.
I think it was tough. As a woman, So you're going to think I started this is its 36th year, and I was young and enthusiastic and all those things, and I had a very young family. And the industry, like for me to earn the same amount of money as the blokes that were in the industry, I had to be 10 times better than them. And some of them weren't very good. The psychobabble that came out, and like so many times I'd say, give me the evidence that that's actually true. You know how people in this industry,
Yeah, oh, yep.
all those yap about nothing. So it was tough and it was hard, and I worked very, very hard to make sure that what I was talking about, who I was, and what I believed was important was part of my everyday life. I mean, look, was it tough on my kids? Absolutely. But, you know, I never missed a sports day. I was there, right? Why? I was self-employed. I could take time off, and it wasn't easy. It was hard. And, you know, when I started travelling to the eastern states, that was really tough. Because I can remember ringing my husband one day and saying, where's the kids? Because I'd ring them even in the evening. And, oh, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? And that's when I decided that we're moving to Sydney. And because it was like, we don't know where the kids are. Part of it as well is, you know, I actually don't understand. Like, if most women don't want to do some of those hard yards, they don't. Now, they'll argue with me and damn me to hell. Well, let me tell you something. Would you like to be worried at 10 o'clock at night how you'll pay wages tomorrow? And if you don't, then just know that's what the men in your life are worrying about. They're worrying about how they pay wages tomorrow. They're worrying about, is Johnny going to show up, or is Susie going to have a sick day? And can we actually now do the work that we said that we were going to do? I tell you now, I take my hat off to them. I've kept integrity and values a very small business because it's actually really hard work managing people. Now, here's the problem. Most men have got egos the size of the Empire State Building and don't realise that women are actually better at people. So find people, women in your life, that are willing to support you to learn what it's like to be empathetic, kind, generous, and all those kind of things. And stay driven. You stay driven. It's tough work. It's hard. It's hard being a woman who's a CEO. I've been told all kinds of horrible things about me and how I got there. No. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, wrote programs, put my kids to bed, start work. That's what it was like.
That was life.
That was life. Now, life's not like that nowadays. And thanks to you, I've been challenged again. And I'm going, oh my God, I got to learn how to do this, how to do something else. And it's exciting and confronting.
Exciting and confronting.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes.
That's what I embrace throughout my life. I'm excited, but I'm confronted by the challenge, but I'm eager to overcome it. My mother taught me to be neutral at all times. When things get really good, expect to continue and go on as normal as soon as possible, because life goes on. If you stay too high and then it shits the bed, the fall is so much greater than if you went back to neutral. Because if I stayed at neutral, celebrate your wins, enjoy the moment, but go back to neutral. Because when shit hits the fan, the fall is not as bad. Because then, when you do fall, which will happen, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You come back to neutral.
Yeah.
If you live your life on the high point all the time,
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting, especially when you're at the low point, because your next point is way too high.
Yep.
Stay at neutral. What do you reckon of that?
Stay at neutral. I like the idea of it.
That's her definition of just get on with it.
Just get on with it.
Yeah.
I like it. How about this? You know how some people, like you've worked with lots of people in your time, can't get anything done.
Yeah.
Right? So there's some really good literature about what gets people moving. So neutral means that there's a space for you to move forward, yeah? And what we're looking for in life is the disturbing motive that we have to move forward, right? And what you want, so this is where I kind of equating this to this neutral position, is a healthy reactive fear to the excitement. So it keeps you real, keeps you in this band, right? So, you know, if people have more fear than excitement or disturbing motive to move forward, they get stuck. They don't go anywhere, right? Whereas you want your disturbing motive, the excitement and the joy of accomplishment, to be slightly higher than your reactive fear. So that keeps you at this level. And you keep it there. If this does this, you don't do anything. Your reactive fear up here, you don't do anything. You're stuck.
Let's unpack that a little bit more.
Does that make sense?
That does.
Yeah.
But I want to take a break. Passion mentor is what I'm clear about now.
Yeah.
And hearing you say that you did a workshop on this at 19 years old excites me more, because I want to see more 19-year-olds have intent with the authority of what they're talking about.
Yeah.
From the authority they have they're talking about. You can talk about anything. You can be a keynote speaker and talk about anything. You can read a book, and if you understand it, you can regurgitate it.
Yes.
But if you don't have context and observation and learned experience, you're just a book reader.
Yes.
Right? Yes, you can do it a few times, reiterate it, paraphrase it, add some synonyms. But is it relatable to the audience?
Well, it takes something to read something, absorb it, and then, take something out of it and do something with that. So I'm a great believer in that old adage of actions speak so much louder than words. And I know that you're a proponent of that.
Absolutely.
For people to be successful in the work that you do, they've got to take action, and massive action. And, it doesn't matter how much of a knot in your stomach. Yes, you've challenged me, and I'm just sitting here going, okay, I'm going to do this. I've got this young gun. For me, you're a young gun.
Yes. Clip.
Who's willing to walk me through a minefield of stuff that I don't understand. And it doesn't matter how good I am at what I do if it doesn't get to the wider and broader world. So it doesn't matter how brilliant I am or integrity and values work. It doesn't matter.
I always get scared for some reason when I say to people, it's great you have word of mouth. It's great you have referrals.
Yes.
You don't exist anywhere else.
Yes.
That word of mouth will die with you. How does that make you feel?
Oh my God, don't ask. So that's not what I envisaged is possible in the work that we do. Because when people get what we do, they get so excited. It's a little bit like, I'm so excited having met you, right? I'm going, you're teaching me stuff that I know I need to know. I'm a sponge.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lifelong student.
You have to be a lifelong student to become a great leader.
Yeah.
Because you need to keep practicing to update the server, which is
Yeah.
your head.
Yep. And it's like you have to reset it, you got to restart it, you got to rethink it, you know, and it's like what I think I know is obsolete tomorrow.
If you didn't read those books at that young of an age,
Yeah.
that 19-year-old self would not have been self-aware enough to do that workshop,
Yeah.
to then lead to where you are now.
Yeah. Well, my father introduced me to books that fed my mind.
The non-fiction stuff.
Yeah.
But the fiction stuff can also...
No, fiction. He introduced me to fiction.
Like the Bible.
You know, like... Shh, you upset people. The Bible is a good story. That's a whole other story. I'll tell you about me and the Bible another time.
I thought I'd give you a crack up for one. It's a zinger.
I was married to a Mormon.
Wow. So just on the Bible, Mum tells me to read the Bible, not for religious things, but for the stories that make you a better person.
Well, think of the story of Job. Hang on. Job, hey? In the belly of the whale. Now, I don't know if it's true. Like, is it literal? I don't know.
Oh, God. Absolutely.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No.
But are there great stories in there? One day, for fun, I'll tell you the story of David.
I'm excited.
My version of David.
I'm excited.
Is something not working?
No.
Oh, do you have to turn that
No,
on?
it's on. It's working.
Okay. You and I just have too much fun.
Oh, we do. So, yeah, non-fiction books. For me, growing up, I loved Egyptology. Every
Yes.
time I go to the library, all the kids would race to get the Wes Wally books and all that shit. The Guinness Book of Records. I was one of them. I liked the Guinness Book of Records. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated with Egyptology, like the pyramids and all the scriptures and hieroglyphics. When
I was fascinated with that. We had a set of Encyclopedia Britannicas in our home, and I read them.
I have
Yeah,
the set of National Geographic's books that span across World War II.
Oh.
The originals.
When I went to university, I did World War II history.
History fascinates me because it's predictable. It goes around. It starts
Well,
again.
it's not only predictable, it's also, if we can read history, you want to know history so that you can stop making the same freaking mistakes.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Right?
You know, modern history.
Yes.
And then, you know, you've got your ancient history. And now you have, I mean, you can call it the current history that's being written. And I'm not going to go into politics. I'm talking about, from what I've seen, the internet, the birth of the internet, the digital.
I learned to write with a dip and ink.
Right.
That's how old I am.
Right.
Right? But I learned, and I was left-handed, and I used to get rapped on the knuckles because they didn't have left-handed nibs. And I'd flick ink everywhere and get into trouble and get smacked, and, you know, they smack you at school in those days.
But at the start of the year, at the start of the 21st century,
Yeah.
when the internet was still early,
Yeah.
you developed, you spent $200,000 having something coded
Yes.
that has become a one-of-a-kind thing to the world
Yes.
that everybody uses.
Yep. I didn't realise what we were doing. I just wanted it
For you.
for our business.
Yeah.
I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted to have the results of the integrity and values profile to be generated as a PDF. There was no code in 2002 for that.
And you got the guy that invented that code to
Yeah.
do it for you.
No, we paid him to do it for us.
Yeah.
It was not invented.
No, I meant the code, the original way to do it. And now it's a click of a button.
Yeah. Now it's in open source.
Yeah.
So my son is an electronics engineer, right?
That's helpful.
And he said to me, you do realise, Mum, for a business our size, the amount of tech that we use is extraordinary. He said the fact that we have this thing, we were one of the first people that put a psychometric tool online. I thought everybody had done that.
And it's not a personality test.
No.
When someone says to you it's a personality test, how do you redefine it?
So a personality test is a 4-quadrant, right? So there's the DISC, the MBTI, and look, they're fun things to do, right? The best personality test is Jordan Peterson's, right? It's a validated personality profile, right? Ours is a psychometric tool that measures 20 traits for leadership, or or on the other end, behavioural traits that make a person work well in the workplace. And it doesn't matter, and the scores are dependent upon their role. Yeah?
You said that the data doesn't lie.
No.
What's a surprising insight you found from leadership data that most people wouldn't expect?
That most people lack empathy. And it's the reason why they can't hold people to account. So if you lack empathy, it means you're sympathetic, you're not empathetic. And there's an ocean between sympathy and empathy.
Let's briefly just go over that for the people.
So empathy is, I hear you, I understand, it does not mean I agree. Sympathy is, poor you, oh, let me help you, and poor darling, you know, what you going to do now? Okay, so it's like empathy is, I am willing to hold you up against the requirement that you have, the problem that you have. I do not agree with you. That does not mean I do not care.
What would you not agree with them in that scenario?
So when someone is seeking sympathy and not empathy, is they want you to agree to their sob story and their sad tale.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm upset that I'm fat.
Yeah. Well, I'm not upset about it. You stay upset or use your upsetness. Is that a word? I like making up words.
Upsetness.
Yeah, upsetness.
Yes.
To galvanise you to do something different.
You don't agree that me being fat is
you want to get all down there and sorry for yourself and no. By the way, how many people want to come to your pity party?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and people go and join people in their sad story and their pity party. Now, I'm not saying that people don't have hard times and that things don't get really tough.
Or depression, stress, anxiety.
I'm not saying all of that doesn't happen, right? I'm saying don't go look for people that support you in your misery. Find people who will support you out of your misery.
That's a clip. That's a clip.
Imagine that. I love it. I love it when people say to me, really, Jennifer? Who do you want to record your sad story with?
Yeah. So we've strung the audience along in terms of great leadership. We've got accountable, loyal, and telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Let's go to number 4.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. We've covered that.
We have.
But let's talk about it in forms of a leader.
A leader.
With self-awareness, as a CEO, director, founder, whatever title you want to give yourself, how do you check your self-awareness?
Okay. Consider that every word that comes out of our mouths as leaders creates the world.
Yeah.
We create the world through language. Self-awareness allows us to check in on what language we're using. And does that language move things forward? Self-awareness is about, am I conscious of my impact?
And
most people are unconscious of their impact.
With measurement. So when I did this test, the next part, would I do it again to measure again? Would it be helpful?
Not for a year.
Not for a year.
Unless you go and do some serious work on some of those areas that we talked about, I'm not interested in doing it again.
For sure.
So you do the work, right? You take it on. You go, okay, I'm going to shift this score. I'm going to do something about that. Yeah? So like lots of leaders are completely unaware of their impact.
Why is that?
Because they're so wrapped up in themselves. And what we get them to do is we get them to write a reflection every week.
Every week?
Every week. My inbox is full of reflections I haven't read yet for this year from our clients every week. I've got guys that are no longer in programs with us. One guy's been sending me a reflection every week for about 9 years.
Do you read it still?
I read it.
How was that span over 9 years?
Do you know, he's an amazing guy, right? And
he's a CEO as well?
He's a CEO. And when I did his profile 11 years ago, he would even say, oh my goodness, he was so confronted. And then he took on our program, he took it on. His profile just, like it's a textbook profile for a good CEO. Like if someone asks me, what does a good CEO look like? I said, they look like that.
11 years ago?
No, today. Today.
But 11 years ago?
No. And he was struggling. He was actually struggling to lead and grow people.
How many people?
200.
200 people, CEO struggling, and today...
It's common, by the way. Common.
So what could you identify as the single most... Now, I know there's multiple, but the one single most important impact or change he had to make or shift?
One, he had to move his personal responsibility score from 4 to 8.
What does that mean in your world?
So it means that he has shifted his capacity to see how he occurs to other people. He had to move his self-awareness from a 3 to at least a 7, right? And he had a very low impression management score. And that, he had a 2, and I said, you've got to get that to a 4 or a 5, right? Remember that one, you don't want to score high. So, and he worked at it. I can tell you now, he worked at it. And even in our business, people will say, in our business, he's one of our favourite clients, right? Why? Because he did the work. Now, it was painful. I know it was painful for him. He cried his way to good leadership. And I think the privilege that I had is to watch him while he grew. That was a privilege. And I have many stories like that of extraordinary leaders today that weren't that 10, 12, 15 years ago, but they took it on. You actually have to take it on. So awareness is all about, do I get my impact? Do I get it? Am I cognizant of what comes out of my mouth? Do I know how to clean up when I've screwed up?
Number 5.
Awareness.
Just awareness?
Self-awareness.
No, that was number 4.
Oh, loyalty is 4. So truthfulness, responsibility, accountability, loyalty, self-awareness.
Okay, so we did 5.
Yeah, we've done 5.
Right.
Those are the integrity scores that we measure. So the research that we did was all about that. What are the things that are valued in our society? And we interviewed many leaders for them to say that. These are the important things. And, you know, if I asked you, is the truth important to you, what would you say?
100%.
Yeah, so that's your declaration. It sits in your left hand. What's in your right hand is what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
So we're not measuring your declaration or your intention. We're measuring, can you live up to it? Can you actually do it? And that's the thing that people don't understand. It's like there's things that you are hot on and that you do really well, and all of us have those. Then we have the things that we really struggle with. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about the motivated and the instigated in our chats.
I like that word, instigated.
Yeah. One of my next, well, we could talk about it a bit more. We've talked about it to death already, but how do you help leaders close that gap and take true personal responsibility for their results?
So I have a thing that I go, when you're really responsible, you cut out the story or the explanation about why things are the way they are. You know how when someone tells you about a mistake that they made or they didn't get it quite right, then what they want to do is they want to tell you their story about it.
To inoculate you a little bit.
To enroll you.
Pre-excuse.
Pre-excuse.
The pre-excuse.
The pre-excuse.
Yeah.
They want to tell you the story. And that story just keeps the mistake and the irresponsibility alive.
What is the true great high scoring leaders' way of doing that?
They'll simply go, I've made a mistake, this is what I've done, and this is what you can expect from me in the future. It's as simple as that. And I give you permission to hold me to account on that. So you have to give that permission.
I've done that. I can tell you examples of when I've done that. So I'm happy that I already do that naturally. Because the one thing that I loved as a school teacher was you don't have to keep the kids accountable because they don't like being called out on themselves. It's a responsibility, right? But when they did muck up, and they mucked up based on what we spoke about. So pre-story for context, we would start the term with a new set of kids and say, students, welcome to Mr. Moz's Lessons to Life featuring maths. It wasn't the other way around. It wasn't a maths lesson, it was a life lesson with maths involved. And I said to the students, you guys get to set the rules. I'm just going to implement them. But we all must agree on those rules together. How does that sound? Oh my God, great. We'd go through them. We'd have 10 rules, scripture, 10 commandments, I call it.
10 commandments.
Yeah. And they wrote them out, and I guided them to what I was going to give them anyway.
Yeah.
But the most important thing was they wrote them, not me. So when they decided to fuck around, I would say, Jimmy, you're not following one of your 10 commandments. What's going on?
Yeah.
But then the kids would start calling them out.
Yeah.
And the kids hated that because they set the rules and then they would go against them.
Well, that's exactly what you want in an executive team. You want them to call each other out and to hold each other accountable.
That's it.
Because if it's not happening in that executive team in your business, it's not happening. So one of the things that when I'm running a workshop, I'll say to people, if I don't see you do these things here, it's not happening. Oh, they fight with me. And I go, okay, I'm going to come. I said, I've tapped the floorboards of your business. I've talked to your people. It ain't happening. Don't lie to me. Right? It ain't happening.
How does it feel when you grab a mirror and point it at them?
Oh, they don't like it.
How do you get through that, keep them as a student,
Yeah.
and then get the result
So,
without them going, nah?
F off to
Yeah.
me.
And have they done that?
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
important to know.
No, not everybody wants to do this. I mean, I think someone said to someone else, I'm not going to do integrity and values program because it's not for the faint-hearted. So if you don't really want to actually change this stuff and have it be different, then don't come talk to us. We're going to put you through the eye of the needle and you ain't going to like it. Right? So, and we're very clear about that. We say to people, you're not going to like this process.
Yeah, it's a precursor.
What you're going to love is the result.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, you know, when you're learning something new, you fall over, you scrape your knees, you look pretty ordinary, you can't figure out your left from your right, right? All of that. And, you know, it's like, and it's confronting, and you think, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get this? And then one day you wake up and you have a conversation with someone and go, oh, that was easy. So you want very practical tools for people on how to have those difficult, robust conversations. The more practical and easy the tools are, the more likely they are to use them. The problem is if they're conceptual, what the heck?
Yeah.
There's too many concepts running around. Well, can we stop with the concepts, please? Can I give you a really simple tool that you can go and use today?
Today, that's important.
Today. You can go and have a conversation with someone and use this tool.
Why do you think, in terms of today, doing that, when you give someone what they need and what they want, because what they want is different to what they need.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the same. How do you get someone to take the very next action that same day? And why don't people take that same action that
Because
day?
they're driven by their fears. Remember, disturbing motive, reactive fear.
Yeah.
So how do you keep people at this level and going, what is it? One minute step you're willing to take and move slightly forward. What is the disturbing motive that will keep you going? And can you get your fear into some kind of order? Can you know that old saying is about butterflies are great, just get them flying in formation. Can you get your butterflies flying in formation? Because let me tell you something, the fear never goes away. And you know, I'm more worried when people tell me, oh yeah, I've got it, it's exciting. And I go, oh, I'm worried now. I can remember years ago, someone in my team, and he's about to go and run his first workshop, and I said, so we have what's called a clearing call, right? I'm clearing him, so tell me what's on top, you know, where are your concerns, you know, what's your intention for this workshop, what do you want them to get? Oh, I got it all handled. And I hung up and I went, this is going to be a disaster. Why? Because you can't be that gung-ho. Like, I came in here, I spoke to Jay about half an hour before, and I said to him, did you read the questions? He said, yeah, I read them. He said, Mum, he doesn't often call me Mum when we're working. Mum, this is your wheelhouse. You know this stuff.
Yeah.
He said, trust yourself. Go.
That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's all I want. It's not a Q&A, it's a discussion.
And I went, well, I like him, so I'll be okay.
That's helpful. Right.
So, you know, like, so it's like, it's not that Like in the world of communication and leadership and all that stuff, I know something, but it's like a drop in the ocean as to what's actually available out there.
Yeah. But we've got to just chip away.
Yeah.
We have to chip away.
And like you read a lot, okay? I have a saying, leaders are readers. You don't read or listen to Audible, don't care which one you do.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not doing that, you're not feeding your machine, and you are the machine. So recently I attempted to calculate how many books I think I've read.
Yeah.
Around 15,000.
15,000. Nice.
And my girlfriend said to me, you know, you've forgotten the books that you have read.
I don't think so.
I remember the stuff that really made a difference to me.
And then those callbacks, you're like,
Yeah.
where did that come from?
Yes.
And in the moment when you're reading them, I like to listen to them at the gym.
Yes.
I'm doing heavy squats and this guy's like saying something philosophical. I'm like, oh.
Yes.
But then not stopping the routine, I'm like, oh man, I need to like take notes.
Yeah.
Oh, otherwise I'll forget.
No.
3 weeks later, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's magic.
So, I never said this. I love it. Do you know what leadership is in one word?
Tell me.
Prediction.
Prediction.
Isn't that fabulous?
That is fabulous.
What is leadership in one word? Prediction.
And
So a leader wants to be able to predict. So you want to be able to listen to your people. You want other leaders to be able to listen to their people and know by what is coming out of their mouth, they can predict what will happen next.
In the education space, it's called with itness.
With itness?
So prediction before they do it,
Yes.
and then predictions of actions after they do it, based on their body language, the way they've said it,
Yeah.
and their historical data.
Yeah.
And with itness, it's one kid's coming in and his body language is like, oh, he's having a rough day today. The with itness is your proximity to that kid in the
Yes.
classroom,
Yes.
so that he doesn't
Yeah.
right? But how do we do that in the
The
the corporate world without getting in trouble by HR?
Yeah.
without feeling like you're micromanaging. Tell me about micromanagement.
Oh, goodness.
Is it a myth?
No. Leaders micromanage when they don't trust their people and their people have given them enough evidence of not performing. And then what happens is they then treat everybody like that group or that person that did it before. So they need to recheck in with themselves. Are these people like that? You can't work at Integrity and Values if you want to be micromanaged and you can't cope with a lot of elbow room. Because I do not micromanage. I expect you to think about what your job is. I expect you to come to me with all your ideas and to come to me with your conclusions of what's best for our business. So if you can't do that kind of thinking, you can't work at Integrity and Values. You need to have an internal locus of control. Now, some people don't, and that's okay. They just need to be clear that if they cannot hold the space of driving their own learning and growth and development, then there's some roles that they actually can't do. So how about this? You've watched people, like as a PE, right? You knew within minutes who was going to make it and who wasn't.
Oh yeah, straight away.
How did you know?
Their energy.
What about their energy?
Enthusiastic. They were willing to give it a go. They weren't complaining. They had their chin up. They were eyes wide open, and they weren't complaining.
What else did they do that was different to people who didn't?
They got on with it.
Yeah. So they did something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took action.
How about this? there's been some great studies. Those people who succeed and do the things that they said they were going to do didn't like the process any more than those people who did or didn't. Sorry. So
say that again.
So let's say people come and join you and they're going to do this PE and, get fit and do all that stuff, right?
Well, no, related to the corporate world.
Okay, so they've got a project on, right? And there's a plan for the project to do X, Y, Z, right? And there's those people who can follow through and do the things that has it work. And there's those people who don't follow through and do the thing every single day that has that thing work. The person who follows through and does the thing every day that makes it work doesn't like it any more than the person who didn't. They just did it. So success is not that I'm so fabulous at this and I know more about that. No. You just did it.
Yeah.
Right? If they said, I will complete this task by the end of this week, they completed this task by the end of this week. They squeezed themselves through the hole. They scraped their knees. They made mistakes. They corrected. They didn't like it any more than the person who didn't accomplish it. And that is some research that has been done, which is amazing. Right? When I learnt that 20, 30 years ago, I went, I don't have to like this. Like, if people could get that, I don't have to like this. I just think it's necessary. And if I do it, there's a reward at the end, and the reward is a job well done. Is that enough of a reward? And you think about it, like, in your sporting world, in your exercise world, in this stuff that you do with people, those people who do it and those people who don't like it any more than the other. They just do it. The thought of some of the stuff that you're saying I'm going to have to do, it sends me into an apoplexy.
There's also another study about fear. If you fear something that is actually happening,
yes,
versus something that hasn't happened, the fear chemistry
is the same.
Is the same.
Yes.
So that updates that.
Yeah, and do it anyway.
We're going to do a part 3 after this short break. So this is going to be one of the longest podcasts
oh my God.
that I've done, and I'm very happy about that because I knew it was going to happen. I never reschedule anything, but I had to reschedule something. That's fine. You've said the bad and the ugly are always sitting in the wings to take over.
Yep.
How do you personally keep them out of the main show?
Okay. Well, remember that self-awareness that we talked about? How do we keep the bad and ugly out? We're aware of our dark side. Yeah? We own it. We bathe in it. We go, we know what I'm capable of. You're actually able to say that to yourself. I know what I'm capable of, and I could be seriously dangerous. Yeah? And in the moment that I really owned that stuff, it no longer had me, I had it. Your bad and ugly have you if it just rambles out, spews out on people because you don't have it. It has you. And it never goes away.
How many people have you upset?
A lot. A lot.
And how many of those people have come back and gone,
Thank you.
yeah, you're right?
Most.
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 The ones that didn't return,
Because they're unwilling to own the dark side of who they are. And as soon as they got confronted by it, they ran away and made me or the process the problem rather than a willingness to look at themselves.
Going back to that, doing the process and not doing the process, it's still there.
It's still there.
Those people are watching you
Yes.
right now in this
Yes.
podcast. They're like, oh, there's that lady.
That woman.
That woman. The devil.
The devil.
She's the real bad and ugly.
Yeah, she's nasty.
What do you have to say to those people who are watching him right now? That camera's you. Go for it.
I stand by what I said. And if it upset you, I still believe that whatever I said had some truth in it, and that's why you got upset, because I know that's what upsets me when I don't want to hear something, because there's truth in what someone just said to me, and I want to deny it. I invite you, take another look.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Can you share a mistake you made that you didn't recover from?
Wow, there's so many. You know that question of I've made mistakes and then I've grown and developed from them. There's something that if I went back in time, right, and I could have a conversation with my first husband, because I think if I'd had that conversation, our marriage would never have failed.
What would you say to him?
I'd say he's dead, right? It's good for my kids to hear me say this. I'd simply say to him that that I love him and that I would stay if we could work out some of our differences on our philosophical approach to life, especially our religious beliefs. We never did.
What was his name?
Robert Elliott.
Robert Elliott.
He was a good man and the most amazing father.
Thanks for sharing that.
And I didn't work it out. And even now, I mean, he's been dead a while, I can say, you know, if we'd worked that out, we would never have got a divorce.
What if you have to say to other women in that position? That are sorry?
Yeah, other women. Don't let go. Keep the conversation alive. And don't give up. Keep going. Keep saying what's important to you. And then figure out a way. We were married 20 years. That's a long time to walk away from.
That is a long time. It's 1/5 of one's life.
Yeah.
If you're aiming to break 100.
Yep. I'm going to break 100.
What do you say to those people who feel that they're too old to do something new?
I don't want that trite statement of you're never too old. Rather, I would say it's not about our age that causes us to do something or not do it. It's our mindset. Check your mindset.
I love it. Mindset check. What's one technique I can do daily that I can check my mindset?
Find a buddy. Find someone who will never buy your BS. Find someone who loves you enough to call you on your stuff. And not necessarily your life partner, a great friend that you can go to and go, do your thing, and they'll go, that's your thing, stop now.
Do you feel like you're the accountability body to like many, many people though, than that?
I am, and I have a number of people in my life who don't buy my BS. They don't hero worship me. They don't think I'm some kind of something special. They just love me. And they love me enough to not put up with my crap. And I've got heaps of it.
It's good to hear that you have crap as well. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, like that whole thing, nobody's perfect. Well, we know that. So what? It's not about nobody's perfect. It's about can you and are you willing to look at what's not working and then do something about it?
Are you working to become the best version of yourself every day?
I don't think I do it every day. I think I give myself days off and pay later. It's like, geez, that's a big ask. Every day I must do this thing. It's like, am I working to be my best version of myself? Well, I think some days I'm just downright cruddy. Do people tell you that they do it fabulous every day? I don't.
This brings me to the topic of stoicism.
Yes.
So it's clearly been an influence on your work. How do you personally apply Stoic principles in your life?
Okay. So 40 years ago, I read the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and it changed my world. It had me look at life through a lens that says, tomorrow's another day. Like, as you know, I read a lot, right? When I was 21 years old, when I was 19 years old, I was supposed to get married to some guy, right? It didn't happen. And 4 days before we can get married, he said no. I come home to Perth, long story, I think I need a holiday. And I still remember this. There was my parents had an insurance agent that was visiting with them. And I'm sitting at my mother's kitchen table.
Yeah.
And he says to me, and I'm crying, and he said to me, look at me, Jennifer. I can still see this man, don't know what his name was, right? And he said, I'm going to tell you something, and this will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. He said, life's going to happen, and there's going to be some great things and some terrible things happen to you. And you're going to cry your way through a horrible lot of things. And he said, it's not what happened. It's what you do with what happened.
Go on.
And then he said to me, cry your way through this one, but give yourself a timetable on it. Go away for a week and then come back. And he said, and you'll probably cry again, but don't indulge yourself.
Yeah, don't run away from a problem because of a problem. What does Jordan Peterson say? Yeah. A problem
pushed away. It's going to come again.
No, a conflict unresolved is a conflict multiplied.
Yes.
You can give yourself a timeline to express your emotions, but then you have to get back to reality. Enough now. I like the other one where it says you're in control of your second thought.
Yes.
Do something about it. Your first thought, go crazy.
Yeah.
Don't climb a clock tower with an Uzi gun, though.
Yeah.
Express your feelings in a non-destructive way. Let it out.
Yep.
But don't let it out on someone.
Yeah. Don't make it someone else's problem to solve.
And then that second thought is, what are you going to do about it?
Yep.
I see the world nowadays, just the second thought is, who can I blame?
Yeah.
They never blame themselves.
Well, the whole thing is you need to just be responsible.
Yeah.
You don't even blame yourself because self-blame doesn't help anybody.
No.
So that guy also said to me, Jennifer, life's like this. He said, your heart's going to get broken many times throughout your life. And he said, and there's two ways you can live it. You can hide your heart away and become hard and bitter, or you can put your heart on your sleeve and know that you'll grow and develop from it. You choose. I mean, it's one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given. And yeah,
wow.
For me, I know I've been brokenhearted about many things. And, you know, I've been bitter and twisted at times.
Well, you've been physically twisted as well.
Physically twisted.
Your motorbike accident.
My motorbike, oh my goodness, that was a very big, stupid thing.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 50.
50. Motorbike accident.
I was 49, actually.
Okay. And you walked up those stairs to the studio like nothing happened.
Yeah. I got plenty of metal and pins that hold my pelvis and my legs. And
my mother had a hip
together.
replacement a few months ago, and she's a new woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any pain.
Yeah.
I don't have a hip replacement, but I split my pelvis back and front.
Far out.
So I have 9 pins and 2 plates that hold me together.
How did that motorbike accident change your outlook on life?
It revolutionised so much about me. It also, like, they told me I'd never walk again without sticks and support. You've seen me walk. I walk perfectly.
Yeah.
I couldn't go trekking or something like that. My hips won't handle it. It probably is that whole thing again. It's not about what happens to us. It's what we do with what happens to us. And I did spend 3 years in rehabilitation, going from a wheelchair to a frame to walking sticks to 1 stick to no stick. It took 3 years. I actually do believe, though, that process for me had me become a hell of a lot more compassionate with people with disabilities. And it also had me be consciously aware of those people who play up their disabilities.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with people with disabilities. Those people who use it as a badge of honour, I just go, no, don't do that.
Mm.
You know, it's like, how many times do you want to tell the story of your whatever? And I go, it's boring. My story about my motorbike accident, do you know a good way to get over yourself?
Yeah.
Find someone who'll listen to you tell the story over and over and over again. They give you 1 hour and they tell the same story over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you're bored with the story. You know, not the listener, the speaker is bored with the story. And you stop telling the stupid story.
What does it take to become an extraordinary human?
1 step at a time.
That's it?
That's it. Am I an extraordinary human? No more than anyone else. I get up every morning, I do my thing, and I go to bed. My thing is, I want to transform leaders. I really don't want another child to be born into the regime that I was born into.
Mm.
And I've dedicated my working life to that. I chose not to go through philanthropic stuff. I chose to go to the business world with it because those are the people that will make the biggest difference. Do you remember the big fat CEO?
Yeah.
Okay, when we finished his program, he did the most amazing speech to me. He said, "This is for you, Jennifer." He said, "There's 7 people sitting here, and out of those 7 people, they all know at least 100 people. Because of that, what we've done here, there's a rippling effect on the impact that this program has had." So, do I think that's amazing? Well, it's only amazing because they took action. They became different people. I'm a catalyst. I don't make it happen. You know?
Yeah, the catalyst is... We need more catalysts.
Yeah, we need more people who are willing. You know, look, people people don't want to hear this stuff a lot of times. There's a lot of lip service paid to this conversation. A lot.
But you have to repeat it over and over.
Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm just a wind-up.
Broken record.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm just a winder up again, you know.
But it's not even belief. It's knowing that it will support, guide, break open the next chapter for someone.
Yes.
That gets them going to the next hurdle, or they're often racing.
Yes.
Some people just need one unlock. Some people need many every week.
I needed many. I just didn't get unlocked in one heap. And I've had moments, you know, it's like you've had moments when you went, time for something new. And the courage. Do you know the word courage? Like, I love language, right? Which I guess you've realised. The word comes from two words, from the French word for the heart. Do you know what? Le cœur. And rage. It's the rage of the heart.
Oh, and you got the courage.
When you got courage, you've got the rage of the heart. And each time you make a move, it's that rage inside of us. And it's not mad rage of, you know, crazy people. It's that rage, that thing. No, I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to have this be that way.
Yeah. To be the instigator for that courage to someone else, that's extraordinary.
What's a privilege?
It is a privilege.
It's a privilege. You know, like, I'm very clear that when we work with a team, like, we don't work in big corporate, we work in medium-sized businesses. When we walk in there, that CEO is handing us 9 times out of 10 his, and I'm going to say his, business. We could screw it up.
Wow. So you wouldn't call it a corporate business like 200 people?
No.
Wow.
It's a medium-sized business.
Wow. Okay.
Corporate is 400, 500, 600 people.
But that is a responsibility.
Yeah.
That is a responsibility that is giving to you.
Yeah, and I don't take it lightly.
No.
None of our facilitators walk in there and I just say to them, you're a human being talking to other human beings. Love them to transformation.
That action needs to be followed through. It's a non-negotiable.
It's hard. You know, it's like, can we love people enough that we will not say, we will be a no to bad behaviour? I'm a no to that.
Yeah.
And I've seen bad behaviour in my rooms. I just go, hello, what's that?
Just red flag. No. I'm going to call you out on that.
Yes.
And then we're going to discuss.
Then we're going to talk.
You referenced W.H. Murray's The Commitment Poem.
Yes.
You tell all of your clients to read it.
Yes.
Why this specific poem?
Because William Murray was a mountaineer, and that poem is like the epitome of the words that it takes to climb the mountain of leading, growing and developing people and a business. You know, until you're committed, you're ineffective. And I'm very clear that poem, when I read it the first time, I went, oh my God. So I put it on the wall next to me. And then, you know, our program was a developmental thing, you know. I went, I think I'll just get everyone to read this poem. And then I got them to read it every day in their buddy calls, and they all go, what the hell? We're reading a freaking poem? And it's true. It's like, you know, think about it. You know, meeting you, all sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred.
Mm. Yeah.
It's a line in the poem. Okay.
Yeah. The one line that resonates with me is, whatever you can do or dream, you can do it, begin it.
So that's from Goethe.
Is that the wrong one?
So the last, no, that's true. The last two stanzas of that poem is written by Wolfgang von Goethe.
Okay.
Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius and magic in it, begin it now, right?
Yeah.
So those two lines actually come from Goethe, and he says so if you find the original. But
So there's two people that wrote the poem.
two people wrote the poem. Yeah.
I can see the slight difference.
Yeah, there's a slight difference in the language.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Boldness is genius, power, and magic
in it. Begin it now.
Yeah.
So it's like once I see something and I visualize it, I go, okay, I'm doing something about that now. And then I have moments when I think, well, what do you think you're doing?
I'm a quick mover too.
I'm going, hello, what do you think you're doing?
My empathy to people and my disapproval to people that I talk to about their problems is their inability to do it now. Why do I have empathy though? Because I believe that they can do it and I want to get them through it. But I just disagree with them completely when they say they can't do it right now.
Okay, so how about this? Could you actually say, do you want it? And they go, yep. You go, so when do you want it?
Just zingers, mate. I've said this before, but it's like you're like a reminder of myself.
When do you want it? So they go, so you go something like this. Do you want it tomorrow, next year, 10 years' time, on your deathbed, when you want it?
I love this. I love this. It's if you believe you can do it, or if you don't believe you can do it, you're right.
Absolutely. Either way, you're right.
You're right.
So don't do it. I've actually said to people, don't do it. Forget about it.
Don't do it.
And they go, what?
Oh, but that.
No.
Do it or you
Hello?
don't. Goes back to that. Do or you don't.
Yeah, it's like, what does it take to have something different happen in our lives? Whether it's a little thing from getting up in the morning and going for a walk, which would be a big thing for me, right? Or it's a huge thing. I'm going to implement a whole new curriculum in our business. Either way. Now what? So I have a saying, right? The people go, I go, now what? So what? And then when they celebrate, oh, I'm so fabulous, I go, okay, great. Now what? So what? Next.
Yeah. Next action.
Next action.
What is the next absolute action you need to take?
And people go, Jennifer, can't we just celebrate? I said, yep, okay, you got 1 minute, go. Celebrate.
I've got one other question before we do the quick fire. Mm-hmm. How do you identify whether someone needs all the information or one piece of information to be instigated to do the next action?
Well, how many questions they ask you.
Okay.
So, or how they answer the question that you put to them, where do you want to go from here?
Yes. Where do you want to go from here?
Where do you want to go from here?
In the next hour.
Yeah.
In the next minute.
In the next minute. What do we do now?
What do we do now?
It's a little bit like, Jay and I walked out of the meeting. We had a short meeting. He said, okay, we're doing this. That was us.
Yeah.
But that's how we both are. It's obvious to you that we both are like that.
Yeah. That's my avatar.
Yeah.
All right. Quick question time.
Oh, my goodness.
We're going to cover the topic of philosophy.
Oh, dear.
You happy with that?
Deep.
Or do you want a different topic?
I don't care. Whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I know. Do I know something about philosophy? Maybe.
Does evil come from within? And if so, why?
Evil's taught. I'm looking at my little 2-year-old granddaughter. There's nothing evil about her. If she becomes evil, it is how she was taught and raised. Nothing is inherent. Do you remember? There's nothing in there. We put it all in there.
Do we change when we have power?
No. If you're mean, when you become powerful and in a position of authority, you're just more mean.
So when I become powerful, it really just unlocks my true inner self.
Well, it unlocks the evil that you were taught, the narcissistic, whatever it is that you want to call it today, right? So think about it. You know, my experience of most people who are powerful is they're pretty good, yeah? They want to do what's right, most of them. And most people who get some power and act like a-holes, they were a-holes before they started. We just gave them more stuff to be a-holy about.
Why do we respect the dead more than the living?
Because we're crazy. Why do I respect the dead? Well, because they can't argue with us about what we're saying.
So be more like the dead. Don't argue with me.
Yeah, that's right. There's no, like, how do you have a conversation with someone who's dead?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I don't know, this thing about respect the dead. Don't make any sense, actually.
Yeah.
Like, look, that's real deep philosophy there. It doesn't make any sense. I have to respect them in the dead.
Yeah.
Don't speak ill of the dead. Well, hang on a second. There's a few people that are dead that weren't very nice.
What character flaw of yours is both good and bad?
That I take responsibility for other people's stuff and then try and fix it.
I do the same thing.
And it's really undoes me because then I get really upset. So it's been a hard one lesson. Like, I'm not responsible for what other people do and I don't need to take it on. Yeah? So probably that comes to like the work that I did around unlocking being codependent and wanting to fix and help everybody. And I tell people, I don't want to help you and I don't want to fix you. You can do that yourself. If you want a partner who's going to support you to do something different, then I'm in. If you think I'm going to do something here, forget about it.
Is it more important to be respected or liked?
Respected. I'm not interested in you liking me. What happens if you like me? So what? So is it more... I don't know, actually.
No, that's good. That's a good
Yeah.
question. So if you're liked but not respected, I would rather be respected.
I'd rather be respected.
Because I'm here to do something.
Yes.
And if you respect me, great. We're in business.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't have to like you to work with you.
No.
What I need to do is respect that you know something and appreciate the effort that you've put in to know what you know. Yeah?
Yeah.
And you don't earn respect. You simply give it to people
Yeah.
because they're a human being that deserves that.
One final one. These are really philosophical. I'm trying to avoid the religious ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot of death and religion in these questions.
I know. People get confused. Their philosophy is about religion. No, it's not. It's about how you live your life.
Oh, final one. This is probably my favourite one of them all. Is having a big ego a negative trait or a positive is having a big ego a negative trait or positive trait?
Of all positive
No.
traits?
Is having a big ego a negative trait or positive trait?
Or positive trait. I'm going to rephrase that.
Yes.
Having a healthy ego is vital for success, right? It's vital for success, having a good, healthy ego. If your ego is huge, you're going to be in trouble because you'll not be able to have people not agree with you.
How do you know if you have a big ego?
How do you know?
Or how do you check?
Check your ego.
Yeah.
You know that saying, check your ego in at the door? It's about, if your ego is that big that you can't hear an alternative viewpoint to yours, then you know that you've got a problem.
Yeah.
And can you listen to the conversation in a way where you add to rather than detract from? Because egos, unhealthy egos, detract from, and it's all about them, rather than it being about us.
I've got a bonus questions now off the top of my head. They say that most narcissistic people become successful upper kind of leaders. I heard it in another podcast from a narcissistic expert. More narcissistic people are, they just get on with it. Have you dealt with narcissistic leaders?
Yes.
Have you helped them?
What, smash through their egos?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not indulge them.
You don't indulge them, but what I'm saying is, can you work with them to change their kind of brain chemistry? There's this huge, what is narcissism? When it's all about me. Yeah.
Right? So, checking in with, it's not about me, right? And when people say it's not about me, and it's all about, they take whatever you say personally. It's huge not taking things personally. So when you're taking things personally, you're highly narcissistic, in my opinion. Not that I know anything, right? What is narcissism? When you're so wrapped up in yourself, there's no one else?
You're not wrong.
When the only opinion is yours? When, I don't know, are all those the traits of narcissism? I reckon, a lot of what I see in some of the social media is the me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at my Facebook life, look at my Instagram life, look at this fucking life that I've got. It's bullshit, right? So I remember giving a talk about 8 years ago to 600 graduates or new people that were graduating into the journalistic world, right? And, and I'm going, what the hell? Young kids. And I'm going, I can't talk to these young people. Anyway, I said to them, I don't know how to talk to you, but let me give you a couple of tips about life. I said, I don't give a fuck what you ate for breakfast. Right? Tell me more about you. If you want to have this life that's out there, at that level, then how do you serve others? Narcissism is not about service to others, it's about service to self. And the greatest joy in life?
Serving others.
Serving others.
Yeah.
There is nothing more exciting. I have a friend who said something to me the other day and she just said, well, this is all it's all about me right now. I've raised all these kids. And I said, I can't even think like that. I can't even go there.
Yeah.
I can't go there. I find the most joy in the service that I can give to others. If there's something I've got that would make a difference to your life, some kind of difference, that will have you believe in yourself more, then I'm going to do that. Because I sure as hell not that interested in me. I'm boring.
I love it.
Oh dear. I think you and I can go on for hours.
We can.
Hours.
Anyway. There's a phone here.
Oh, I've got to answer this. I remember these phones.
Yeah.
I used one of these phones. You've never used one of these phones.
I was born in the former Soviet Union. They still use these. They've just got portable ones now. So on the phone, You're going to pick it up, and the other person on the other end is your 15-year-old self. What advice would you have for Jennifer at 15 years old?
Hey, Jennifer. Stop worrying about what other people think about you and get on with your life.
That's it. Hang it up. Mic drop. Jennifer Elliott, thank you so much for your time in this conversation. And the last 2 days have been very life-changing for me. I appreciate you. And I'm very fortunate to call you a friend. I would love for you to give a quick plug on the integrity and value universe that you've created to CEOs, leaders, people in general that may need it. Yeah. What do we do? How do we get it?
Wow. So integrity and values is completely dedicated to the growth and development of leaders. And how do they create responsible teams that produce results? As a business, we'll hold you up against your dreams and aspirations. Doesn't mean you like us for it, but you'll get what you want. If you don't use us, I don't care. Use somebody.
I love it. And I'll put all the details in the description for people to learn more. Love your work. Really love your work. I'm excited to come to Sydney and hang out there, and would love to be a fly on the wall at one of these meetings, seeing how you break down leaders to their vulnerable selves and then build them back up again. That's really extraordinary work.
Well, that's the work. Like that power of vulnerability. The more vulnerable a leader is, the more successful they are.
There it is. All right, guys. Let me know what you thought of the episode, and go bother Jennifer. She'll save your life. She'll change your life and then save it as well at the same time. You didn't even know. As always, thanks for watching.
Thank you.